What do you think of when you hear the name Dragon Ball? Goku and Vegeta maybe? The Z Fighters, power levels, maybe Super Saiyans? What about the series' modern incarnation, Dragon Ball Super? Maybe you're thinking of Ultra Instinct or Super Saiyan Blue, maybe the Tournament of Power? This series has been in serialization since 1984, and Dragon Ball's undergone at least 6 transformations since its start. Some might say that the story is inconsistent and warped as a result of this, and they'd be right in some ways. However, there's one aspect of Dragon Ball's world that's been the same from Piccolo Daimao to Granola, the gods. In a story fundamentally about the adventure of growing stronger, Master Roshi sets the foundation for 40 years of storytelling with this advice: there will always be someone stronger. In the present day, with Goku approaching the level of the gods, Frieza looking to overthrow Zeno, and Vegeta training with the literal god of destruction, Toriyama's take on godhood is more important than ever. So what's the word? Malachi here. I'll talk about manga. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball like me, consider subscribing to the channel, as I'll be making more content like this in the upcoming weeks. I don't know if people still say this as much as they used to, but Dragon Ball does not have a bad story. In fact, if you're a fan of shonen at all, everything you like can be linked back to what Toriyama drew. Today we're going to start at the very top of Dragon Ball's hierarchy, the gods themselves, from the Guardian of Earth all the way up to the King of the Universe. The first god introduced in Dragon Ball is Kami. It's right at the end of Piccolo Daimao, and everything in the post-arc feels utterly surreal. Everything just kind of falls into place. Goku pays Karin a visit at the top of the tower, and he gets granted an audience with God. Sounds pretty crazy, right? Well, Krillin and Master Roshi were dead at the time, and Piccolo had just killed Shenron, so Karin allows Goku to visit God as he was the one who created the Dragon Balls. It's important to note that Goku's strength, pure heart, and bravery make him a part of the select few that can visit Kami, but it's deeper than that actually. Goku's staff that he's been carrying around for the past 150 chapters just happens to be the connector between the Earth and God's sanctuary. We know that Goku was always strong, but the story has been building him up as the perfect person to meet God without us even knowing it. He trains with Karin's disciple Roshi. He meets Karin by chance. He's even raised by the man who owns the staff, Son Gohan. So with all this build up, you'd think that Goku's introduction to Kami would be seamless, right? Well, we're actually told to expect the unexpected here. Yajirobe comments on Goku visiting Kami with tattered clothes, and Karin responds, "Oh, they'll just get messed up anyways." So immediately we know that God isn't going to be as simple as we'd expect. Goku's arrival to the sanctuary feels like a ritual. Popo is the traditional gatekeeper, and he challenges Goku to a fight, of course. Here, the second that Goku engages with Popo, he immediately starts learning lessons. For one, Goku has great power as Popo acknowledges, but he doesn't know how to use it at all. Secondly, the thin air in the sanctuary tires Goku out and exposes the wasted movements that he's been making while fighting. Despite these shortcomings though, Kami is pleased specifically by Goku's refusal to give up in the face of this test, so he grants Goku his audience. This is when we get the most important face reveal in this series so far. Kami looks just like Piccolo. That might be old news today, but reading that chapter weekly had to have been an absolute trip. So Goku pretty reasonably throws himself at Kami, but he gets deflected by Kami's finger. Keep in mind that we just saw Goku rip a hole through Piccolo a few chapters ago. So after he's dealt with Goku, Kami explains that before becoming God, he purged the evil from himself, and that evil became Piccolo. So if you can't tell, I think this is the strongest standalone introduction for a god that we get across the entire series. Kami seamlessly ties into Dragon Ball's world. I personally think Shenron's creator being the guardian of the planet makes perfect sense. He's on a completely different level, and you actually need to fulfill his requirements before you can even speak to him. We see that he's strong with how he deals with Goku, but the most important thing here is that Kami isn't perfect. Splitting Piccolo off from himself was a mistake, and it caused a whole bunch of problems. Keep in mind that Roshi and Krillin are dead right now because of that. So a divine character written like this has the capacity to drive the story forward. Let's talk about King Kai's introduction next. If you had to say, which part of the story do you think has the higher stakes? The end of the Piccolo Daimao arc after all the fighting, or the Saiyan saga before the fighting starts? I personally think the answer is pretty clear. There are 2 Saiyans headed to Earth right now, and they've both been established to be stronger than Raditz. We all know that Goku isn't strong enough to beat these 2 right now, but instead of the gravity of Kami's sanctuary, King Kai's planet is, A house with a car in the driveway, and that's it. Goku mistakes a monkey for his soon-to-be master, and King Kai's test ends up being to make him laugh with a pun. Are you noticing a trend here? King Kai is a joke. It completely breaks the tension of the arc, and I'm personally here for it. With gags flying left and right, you might almost miss the importance of Goku's setting. 10 times Earth's gravity, just like the Saiyan's home planet. You might also miss how serious this training is. It's important to note that Goku has to surpass King Kai here and learn the Kaio-Shin, a technique that his master straight up can't use. So this introduction may seem lighthearted and funny on the outside, but remember, these are the highest stakes we've seen in the series so far, and for Goku to win, he needs to start acclimating to his Saiyan heritage and surpass his master. Even the other Z fighters back on Earth have to surpass Kami, Goku's old master, so it's pretty clear that the stakes are high here. The next time that we're introduced to a god is during the Buu arc with Kaio-Shin. This part of the story isn't surreal like Piccolo Daimao or dire like the Saiyan saga, it's calm. We're being lulled into a false sense of security with the tournament, and nothing meshes better with this type of atmosphere than mystery. As a result, we don't know anything about Kaio-Shin. He goes out of his way to meet Goku, which is a reversal from the two previous introductions where Goku had to request an audience from a god and travel to them. Note the significance of Kami and King Kai having home turfs that force Goku to change and get stronger, while Shin meets Goku at the tournament under the heavens, literally Goku's most important and familiar place. There's still a test, as Kaio-Shin shakes Goku's hand and assesses his spirit, but it's the quickest test that we've seen so far. Shin also immediately concedes to Goku, confessing that even though he'd like to spar with Goku, he doesn't think he'd be able to beat him. So, we've seen Kami flick Goku away like a fly, we've seen King Kai tell Goku that he'll need to surpass him, but Kaio-Shin is admitting that he's already been surpassed. We don't get a full introduction for Shin here, but Piccolo starts to piece things together during his match against the deity. We're led to believe that Piccolo understands some of what Shin is because Piccolo is the guardian of Earth. And when Shin's identity is revealed, even King Kai says that he hasn't met him before, so there are clearly levels to godhood. Now, you might have some criticisms about Dragon Ball Super, but you just can't have anything bad to say about Beerus and Whis. These two are the best gods in the entire series, so let me explain. We've got Kami, who gets this crazy portrayal and gravity to his introduction. We've got King Kai, who always has a joke. We've also got Kaio-Shin, who's at the top of the hierarchy, which commands fear in those who understand his position. One god is strong during their introduction and two really aren't. One god comes to Goku on their own and two need to be traveled to. Beerus and Whis take all of these tropes and roll them into one. What if I told you they get 3 introductions? The first one is a complete anomaly. It's the only god introduction that we get in this series where none of the main characters are anywhere to be found. It's a full scene of Beerus destroying a planet, with Whis in tow, of course. This scene is so great, it tells us everything that we need to know about Beerus in a few pages. Initially, we're thinking that Beerus retaliated and destroyed the planet because the people on it tried to poison him, but Whis clarifies that Beerus had actually already wanted to destroy the planet, so we've got a chaotic neutral parent coming towards Earth. The second introduction is on King Kai's planet. Here we get reversal after reversal. Beerus comes to Goku and offers a test. For one, Beerus isn't asking Goku for help, he's not looking for a student, he just wants to have fun based off a dream that he had. King Kai, Goku's supporter, is actively telling him not to take the test, a direct reversal of what Karin told Goku when it came to meeting Kami, but of course Goku gets folded up here. Now, I don't hear anybody talk about how great this fight is. This is the only test that Goku gets from a god that he just straight up fails. So why does Goku come up short here against Beerus? Well, look at how he's fighting. Wasted energy, wasted movements. In the anime, he gets so upset that he punches a hole through King Kai's planet. Goku is the epitome of a lack of restraint here, and he's going against all the martial arts advice that he's gotten from his past teachers like Roshi and Kami in the past. Now look at Beerus. Look at the grace, the restraint, the neck chop that he takes a Super Saiyan 3 Goku out of with here. I think that this fight is one of the best examples of explaining what it means to enter the realm of the gods, and it really brings the gods' stock up in my opinion with how Beerus fights here. The third introduction comes after the Super Saiyan God ritual, and after the full fight between Goku and Beerus, Goku passes the test. This series of introductions sets Beerus and Whis up as extremely important and extremely likable. They're capricious and fun-loving, but they've got a duty of destruction. That contrast is so entertaining. They're extremely strong and they've got huge reputations, but it's in all the right ways. This is the foundation of Dragon Ball Super. That new story would not work without the introduction of these two incredible characters. They're also the foundation for Zeno and the Angels, the multiverse, and for Ultra Instinct and Ego later on. So, if we're introduced to the gods in a very intentional and specific way, what about their relevance to the story? Well, this cast of characters has a reputation for being useless, but is that really the case? Well, all the gods I've mentioned function as teachers for our main cast, so we can quantify their relevance to the story through what they teach. After training with Kami, we see a clear shift in Goku's methods and how he fights. He started wearing that iconic weighted clothing, and he's noted by Piccolo to be using their techniques, specifically with the pressurized air that he shoots at Chi-Chi. Analytically, Goku's also on another level after Kami's training, being able to find 2 flaws in Tien's doppelganger technique. Kami also gets the rest of the Z-Fighters up to par during the Saiyan saga. This is an underrated detail, but Krillin, Tien, and even Yamcha are all able to take out Cyberman after their training with Kami. So, if Kami's relevant to the plot, what about King Kai? Well, we all know that Goku needed the Kaio-Kin to win out against Vegeta in their clash, and that the Spirit Bomb plays an important role in 2 major fights, Vegeta and Frieza. King Kai and Kami even collaborate to make wishes on the Dragon Ball so that the main cast can escape Namek. So it's pretty clear that these two are important to the plot. But the gods don't really get their useless reputation from King Kai and Kami, do they? They get it from Kaio-Shin. So is he really useless? Well, Shin's primary role in the story is to give warnings to our main cast. We get an accurate description of the threat of Buu from him, plus the location of Babidi's lair. He even rescues and helps train Gohan later on. Sounds pretty useful to me. I think Shin is less useless and more imperfect, just like Kami. We tend to be hard on him for underestimating our main cast, but Shin actually seems to be pretty knowledgeable about Goku and Co. Keep in mind, Shin is one of the 5 Kaio-Shin, making him strong enough to destroy Frieza with a single blast. We see that he understands that Goku is stronger than him, and even Kibito comes into the arc knowing about Super Saiyan. The first time we see them surprised is when Gohan mentions a form beyond Super Saiyan, so it would make sense if Shin only knew that Goku defeated Frieza with Super Saiyan. We know that in the original timeline, Goku teleported back to Earth and dealt with Frieza pretty easily. We also see Trunks do the exact same thing on panel, so personally, I don't have a problem with the Kaio-Shin being at the level of destroying Frieza with a single blast, and it actually lines up with their knowledge kind of topping out right around the end of the Frieza saga. Because our main characters get so much stronger though during and after the Cell arc, not paying attention here would pretty reasonably cause some discrepancies in terms of knowledge. If Shin comes into the arc knowing how strong everyone is, he probably doesn't set up Gohan because Gohan has so much energy. Maybe Shin sees Gohan's power and feels confident in being able to stop Babidi with just him, which would avoid the main conflict of the arc. So if Shin was just unfortunately ignorant, what about Beerus and Whis? Well, these two basically function as antagonists in Battle of Gods, but in Resurrection of F, they do spend a lot of time standing around and eating during Frieza's invasion. I think having 2 really strong characters around all the time definitely makes it harder for tension to exist in the story, and we see this in action during the time loop part of the movie. So these two come with the biggest ramifications for the story, but I also think Super realizes this and finds ways for them to be far away from the main conflict at times later on. So in short, these issues are far outweighed by the narrative importance of Dragon Ball's gods. So if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Definitely subscribe to the channel and check out some of the other videos, and stay tuned for more Dragon Ball content like this in the future. Thanks for watching and have a good day.